This is Musings and Counsel from London Baker Law with Debbie London Baker.
So why do young families, though, in particular, if somebody's driving around right now listening to this show that has, maybe it's a brand new parent and nobody's told them this, talk about why young parents need to really consider their plan.
And that's where I really started with the idea of young families. And then I found out that young families are convinced, A, they have nothing, and B, they can't afford it, and they have no frame of reference, so they don't know, but that's another conversation.
Right.
They need it because, God forbid, something happens to two parents, who will raise your children?
Right.
And I don't know about you, but I've heard a couple of horrendous stories. One, a nightmare that somebody envisioned happening of they had a very responsible sister-in-law and a hippie sister, and if it came to court, which you'd already alluded to, and the responsible one showed up, the court would be likely to give her children to the sister-in-law, and her husband, she agreed they didn't want the sister-in-law near her children. They wouldn't trust the sister with money, but they would trust her with their children.
Interesting.
So, but without putting something in place where you named a guardian for your children. And for anybody out there who listening thinking, well, why didn't I know that? There's no reason for you to know anything about any of this without talking to a professional. Truly. I mean, truly.
Well, I have a friend from college who his brother married, had 3 kids, and they went on this couple's getaway, and the kids, so their 3 kids stayed with the grandparents, which is a great option if you have that opportunity.
Right.
And they went away, and they were in a horrific car crash, and they both passed. And it's heart-wrenching from the perspective of that happening in of itself, but it's even more heart-wrenching to think that the kids could have been wards of the state.
Right.
Had they not, now they were fortunate, they had a plan.
Right.
They had a written plan. It was legally documented. All of it was in order. But, all the way from the life insurance policy to the choices of where the kids were going to go to school to who they were going to live with, and in the event that something happened to who they were going to, all of that was planned out. And what a blessing for those kids to not have to go to foster care or some type of state facility, right? And isn't that what drives you with regards to young families?
Well, yes, because the thing that people don't understand is, and again, why should you, is that if you're in a horrific car accident and you haven't died, but you're just not getting home that night, right?
Right.
And you've left your child with a 16-year-old babysitter who you trust implicitly but isn't an adult and has no legal right to be with your children, then the state has no option but to come in and take your children into foster care long enough to find out who's supposed to be with them.
Right.
So the other thing I do with young families is we appoint temporary guardians. So let's just say, Steve, I've appointed you. I want you to be the permanent guardian of my children, but you live in St. Augustine. Well, that's longer away than 25 or 30 minutes. But they have friends in the neighborhood, and one of their parents is willing to hang out with them as a temporary guardian, legally, ascribed, while you get over here from St. Augustine. So the kids are safe. They're with people they know. So the horror of you just not getting home at night is minimized. Or the friend from the neighborhood can just stay overnight because they have the legal right to do it. And temporary guardianship, medical powers of attorney, all the stuff you can't imagine ever needing, which is another reason you don't do it until you do.
And then it's too late.
And then it's
so much work and so much chaos, and particularly for the kids. It's not just about finances. It's about
not at all about the finances. No, it's about the kids.
About the kids.
Yeah.
This has been Musings and Counsel from London Baker Law. Learn more at londonbakerlaw.com. Thanks for listening.